We're all set, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. I will call the meeting to order for the Northborough Housing Authority. And before we start, pursuant to the Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, general law, chapter 30A, section 18, and the governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Housing Authority will be conducted by remote participation. Excuse me. No in-person attendance by members of the public will be permitted. This meeting will be live streamed. Okay, with that, I will call the meeting to order, and I will begin with a review and approval of the minutes that Lynn has sent to all of us.
So moved.
And remember,
Second.
when you're saying it, you have to say your name.
Oh, Ray Carlson, moved, so moved.
Elaine Solomon, second.
Second. Any questions? If not, I'll take a vote to accept the minutes. You have to say your name, Elaine.
Oh, aye, Elaine Solomon, sorry.
Ray Carlson, aye.
Andy Dowd, aye.
How about you, Brad?
Brad Newman was absent. Right?
Oh, that's right, too.
Yes, he
Okay,
was.
all in favor, it's unanimous. I'm going to go into the report of the executive director. Looks pretty lengthy.
Yeah, so I just, I sent you guys just so you can have, look at things. I sent you a copy of everything that I was going to address tonight, just so you could have it. Since I usually throw it on the table when we meet. So I'll stop by the vacancies like I always do. I have one vacant unit here at Colonial Village. I do have an offer that's made on it. I had finally leased up Crestwood Drive. I actually signed new tenant on Friday. And she notified me today she hadn't moved in yet, and she's asking she wants to get out of her lease. She found out that her child can't go to school in the same school, and it's a big problem for her. So guess I'm back to the drawing board with having to get somebody else in there. Doesn't happen too often, but that happens once in a while. So that's that. I sent you a copy of the AUP audit, and there was one thing that everything, I had no exceptions except for one. And it basically said that everybody was over salary. I reached out to the accountant and said, what's up with that? Because, Julie's salary was right on. There's what should be, I couldn't understand. I've never seen that happen. And he told me that there was one extra 2-week bi-weekly pay period in that calendar year, so that everybody was over, and that it shouldn't be a finding. So they allow you to put a comment in. So I put it in, and then they'll respond to me whether or not they'll take it off. He said that the way the calendar year fell, with the last paycheck, the salary goes into the the last year's, and that because it was a 2-week period, it brought everybody over more than the couple of percent.
Is that going to make you short for next year, for this year that we're in?
I don't think so. Like I said,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, good question. I don't know. We always, if you see like that, one of the things that I sent with the cert, it's the top 5. And if it's over by the top 5 salary or under by a certain percentage, they consider it to be off. So I don't know why. Like I said, that's what he said. And he said everybody has the same thing. Sometimes I think they just want to find something. I swear. That's neither here nor there, but I did try to put in, it's not gonna make a huge difference. They're not making any recommendation. Like I said, it's a reporting thing. So,
Well, overall, it was a very good audit.
yeah, I'll see what they say about that. So we have been working on, excited about, I did have, a couple of things going on. Last week I had, actually the other day, getting confused with the days, Monday, a Zoom meeting with the Board of Health, Kristen Black, and the Fire Chief, and Andy and myself. And well, they set up a clinic for, they're starting to get vaccines. And DHCD Center I actually participated on a Zoom meeting last week about vaccines. As a matter of fact, I think Elaine was on there. She messaged me, and I did find out that, because housing authorities, I think I told you, are in the second phase, part 2 with the 65 and older. And they told us that we were eligible for vaccines, and it didn't have to be part of the town's vaccines, that we could get our own vaccines, our own allotment. So I did reach out, and Andy did too, to the Board of Health. I think at first she thought that they had to supply the vaccines, and of course they have enough problems getting their own. They were happy that they didn't have to. So they agreed to partner with the housing authority. So basically, once we get our vaccines, they set up the clinic at the senior center, and they'll work with us to get everybody vaccinated. The fire department and the EMTs are the ones that are going to be administering the vaccines. So I did reach out right after we had that meeting, and I filled out an online form. Basically, they just said they told me that it was okay. I just applied for a vaccine as if everybody was going to get one. And then we take it from there. I don't know if they'll confirm at the end, but so I put in for every person that lives at Heritage Village, every person that lives at Colonial Village, because everybody's eligible, and 6 staff. So I put in, and I also included the 5 people that I have that live in the 4 additional senior units, the NAHC units. So I put in for 122 vaccines. And I don't know, it even asked for, when you might, have a date. So I put in a date for 3 weeks out. Again, they told us the notice reads that you can't have them until they finish anybody that's 75 or older. But I don't know how, but some housing authorities are already getting them. So I don't know whether they're giving them as they get them. Like I said, I just put mine in, and they responded, they got it. So I'll wait and hear. But once I'm gonna do a notice to tenants, just telling them that we are partnering with the Board of Health. And when I get a definitive, then we'll find out. I have a list of everybody's age and so forth. So a lot of the 75 and older people may already get them before these come out. I don't know. I certainly wouldn't discourage anybody from getting a vaccine that can grab one at any time, because I don't know if it means that they have to wait until all these are done. It could be a while, depending on how quickly Northborough gets the rest of their vaccines. So, but I was pleased that I'm really happy that they're gonna partner with us and do that.
Lynn,
People can get their vaccines. Yep.
how are they going to administer them at the senior center when the town is administering vaccinations at the same time?
We're gonna have our own day.
Oh, you will? Okay. All right.
Yeah, they can do how many a day, Andy? A lot. They can do a lot a day.
We could do, under the current plan, they could do 300 a day. So yeah, they've got plenty of capacity. Just a matter right now, the vaccine supply is the challenge, everywhere, but for us included, right? This first week, we're only getting 100 doses, and those filled up in about 45 minutes, those available appointments. So.
So, yeah, she said there would be no problem, giving whatever, whenever we get them, whenever we can get them, we'll be able to, the people are still gonna have to fill out their form online. But they'll be able to schedule them right in there, on a specific day.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And
So-
thank you
so,
for including the NAHC people as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, actually, I heard one of the residents was over here today. She brought a rent over and they're a couple and I think they're in already too. She said that they're going on Friday. So, I think people that really jumped on it. What did it fill up in 45 minutes, did you say?
Yeah, sure did, because I went in at 46 minutes and it was full.
So, like I said, some people may get them, which is great, but I did include everybody and then, I figured we'll see what happens when the time comes, so. That's that. I think at this point, I guess too, I think I want to go ahead and before I talk about one last big thing I want to talk about. There's a couple of things that I do need to get approved. As far as the projects go, we do have another new project starting. I had an engineer here again on Monday for emergency lights in the hallways at Colonial Village. We've had the same emergency lights since these units were built, in the hallways, which are 50 plus years old, and they're not making the parts anymore, and they're difficult to get. So we've had a capital project for that, actually for Colonial and HV. Colonial's the worst. So they're doing Colonial Villages first. He came out to check it out, and then he's going to put together a scope of work. So, yeah, other projects are still in the wings. Nothing is actually going right now. We're still sort of waiting on a couple of things, but that is another one that's going to be in there. So we still have the fronts of TV, the maintenance garage, the kitchen at 96 Northgate, the new HVAC system at East Main Street, and the emergency lights here at Colonial Village. So we got some stuff going on. They're just kind of
Sounds pretty busy.
rolling out, but they're just rolling out a little bit slow, like everything, but they are happening. So I have two things to be approved. One is the year-end budget certifications, which generally everybody signs. We don't have to have them physically signed because of the fact that we're virtual. I did send you just the year end. I tried to send you some budget things so that you could just take a look at them yourself. But there's the certificate of compliance that says we're in compliance with lead paint, which everybody signs at lease up. The top five report which I sent you, and the last thing to be certified, year-end financials and accounts receivable. So those three things need to get certified so that I can send them in.
And do you want them individually or can we do them together?
You can do them together.
Okay. Then I'll accept a motion to accept the certification of compliance, the certification of the top five, and the year-end certification by the accountant. So can I have a motion?
So moved, Andy Dowd.
Okay. Second?
Second, Brad.
Ray Krause.
Second, Brad. Any questions on it? If not, then I will hear a motion to accept.
You already did that.
Oh, I did. Okay, we all said aye, did we?
No, now we need to vote, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
Vote.
okay, sorry.
We need to vote to accept everything. So we need a vote. Anybody objecting? If not, let's hear the ayes.
Elaine, aye.
Thank you.
Ray Carlson, I.
Brad Newman, aye.
Andy Dowd, aye.
Anita Osborne, those are approved. And
Thank you.
you need one for the CFA?
Yeah, I was gonna just do that one next. I do have that one too, Rita. So I was just gonna say too, I don't remember whether I said anything, last month or not. I can't remember, but so originally when we did the budget, when we did the budget, do you remember how we had to go down the 4.2%? They were cutting us back 4.2% with they're not doing that now. Now they came back with, they have money, and we don't have to, they're not cutting us back 4.2, but they're not making us do an official revision. They're just gonna adjust everybody. I don't know. They said that they ended up with more money because of COVID or something like that. So they're not gonna cut anybody's budgets back, which is good.
So that would be the paperwork that you sent out on.
Yeah,
the,
when we did the budget, when Jay
consolidated.
was here, when he talked about that they cut us back 4.2% statewide, that's what they had done, but now they changed it back and they're not doing that.
You're talking about the contract for assistance
No, I'm talking about the actual budget
or the actual budget, okay.
that we submitted, yeah. When we went over it the last time. So the CFA that I also sent is CFA Amendment number 10. It's our formula funding award in the amount of $156,551. This is our FY 224 award. So they always project out a couple of years. So just for people that are new, this is the money that they give us that I get to draw the projects off of. So everybody gets a formula funding award. DHCD started this, I don't know how many years ago, this new system. I don't know, how many years has it been, do you think, Rita and Brad, like since with the CFA money? A little bit. Not a super long time, but maybe
Right.
I don't know, a while ago. So
But you need a
basically-
vote.
yeah, basically you get so much money per unit every day, and then kind of the more projects you create and the more needs you have, sometimes they give you extra money. Sometimes there's no rhyme or reason to it. Everybody gets a set amount. And then sometimes they adjust it. So anyway, I need
Pretty good amount.
a motion to approve
The contract for financial assistance for 5001, the amount of 156,551, and we need a motion.
Motion made, Brad.
Brad, thank you. We need a second.
Seconded, Andy Dowd.
Any questions? If not, then I will hear a vote to accept.
Elaine, aye.
Thank you.
Ray Carlson, I.
Brad, aye.
Andy Dowd, aye.
Peter Osborne, aye. Motion is accepted, carries.
Okay, thank you. So the last thing I just, I sent that public housing notice from 219 about the acceptance of new units. So the reason that I sent that was Rick had reached out to me a while ago saying that he was corresponding with Mass Housing Partnership and still was looking into building, the possibility of building some new additional units. So we talked a couple of times. And then recently he talked to me again, and he asked if the state had any money, if the NAHC, he said they have some money that they're interested in using. I think they have, I thought he said, and Ray can tell me if I'm wrong, I don't know, something like about $500,000 in reserves from CPC money.
That's right.
So I reached out to Paul McPartland from Paul McPartland, who was the one, really works at DHCD and was really helpful and worked with us when we built the other units over at NAHC. And I asked him if we could schedule a Zoom meeting to talk about, Rick had some questions and about the possibility of building some more units with the Housing Authority. And Paul sent me this notice saying, I guess is what we really wanted to find out is if because, in the past, they've only wanted to build family, okay? And to back up, we have a vacant lot of land that we've looked into building on a couple of times. It's actually right in Colonial Village. It's in between two buildings, in between 10 and 12 and 14 and 16. There's a parcel of land that when they did the original as-built or whatever of this place, it had in there that it was going to be, they were going to put a congregate building or something in there, which they never did. So it's a decent sized parcel of land, right on this property. So we had thought about several years back, and I'm sure Rita and Brad remember about the possibility of building another, trying to build some more elderly units if we could stick another building in there. So we have here so maybe another 8 units. But the first step was to see if we could build and all that kind of stuff. The Housing Authority did an application. We put it into CPC to ask if we could hire somebody to do a survey and start to do some legwork. And they denied the application. They didn't want to give any money for at that time for what they said was research type of thing. So, and then over the years, DHCD has said that they didn't want to build anything but family housing, that they weren't interested in building any elderly housing. So we ended up putting it on hold. But according to this public housing notice, they do have some money available, and and also from what we found out and Rick found out, is they are willing to build elderly units again because the need is so great. So we had a meeting and we all talked about it. Rick told him what he was thinking. The corporation is more interested in partnering with the Housing Authority and getting them to be part of our portfolio as opposed to having them as the way we did it before, as putting it out for a management agreement, which is what we have going on now, because they want to be able to get at our waiting list, the list that we have, long list of people to get in here. Those units, because of the fact that they were built privately, have to go through the federal guidelines of fair market rent and all that kind of stuff. So they're higher rents. To put it in perspective, we did a calculation of, what the average rent is in the Northborough Housing Authority for elderly. It averages out to about $400. That's just an average. Some people are higher and some people are lower, obviously, but those fair market rents, are about it. So they're just more interested in partnering with us. So Paul did feel that was very feasible. As you can see from this public housing notice, they're offering up to $75,000 for each elderly unit and $125,000 for a handicapped unit. And we are way below our percentage of handicap units because we only have 2 over at Heritage Village. We don't have any at Colonial Village. So right there is something in our favor too. So, and they still do have some of this money available. So Paul was going to run it all by Ben Stone at DHCD, and he was going to get back to us. And then if they feel that it's all doable or definitely a possibility, then I think the next step is going to be the NAHC is going to be willing to start. They'll pay for an engineer or an architect to come out to do a survey of the land and to make sure that to see exactly what we could build there, and that kind of thing. How many units and, if we have to go in front of zoning or any of that. So,
So whose project would it be? Would it be 100% housing authority or would it be a split like the other ones we did with?
my understanding is it's going to be a housing authority project that they're just going to supply some of the funds for us because they want us to be able to get at our own waiting list. So they don't really want to have anything to do with the units. They just want to help us fund them to build them.
Good.
So it'd be added to the housing authority, what we have currently, it would just add whatever more. I was wondering too, on the amounts of money, on the, for the elderly and disabled, is there any chance, I know they have 1 bedroom, how about some 2 bedrooms for elderly and disabled? Would that be considered too, you think?
Sure. I mean, why not? If we can do it, I guess it just depends. I mean, that's probably everybody's decision when we find out, how much space we have and
How many
exactly.
units you can build?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah,
Lynn, I think when we looked at this before a while ago, it was about 8 units, I think. Do you remember
yeah,
that?
that's what we said, about 8 units. That's what we're hoping. Which is pretty much the same that is exactly what we have in these other buildings. And I think that we probably a building the same size is more or less what we could probably fit in that lot of land.
So would that be 50% disabled and 50% elderly? If it was 8, or is there
You
a
mean handicapped?
handicapped, disabled, handicapped, yes.
Yeah, that's what we talked about. Because I said obviously you can't make them all handicapped because
No,
you have to go up. They're definitely, and if you're gonna have second floor, they can't be
right.
handicapped and there wouldn't be enough space. So, maybe 4 handicapped, on either 2 and 2 on each side and 2 on the top. And maybe the
Oh,
ones on the
that's
top
pretty
could be bigger. Again, not 100% sure. But that would be nice if we could do 8.
That's a
That would
good
be
use
very
of the
nice.
land, I think.
It
really-
is. I think
Yeah.
it's really
I
exciting.
agree.
Yeah. I think it's great that they want to partner with us. I think that it's good that DHCD has some money because normally
They wouldn't do it before. They wouldn't
Normally they
even,
don't.
wouldn't even think about it.
But we do have to make sure we have room for parking.
Well, that's,
Extra
to be
parking.
honest with you, that's exactly what I said on the meeting. That's my only
Right.
concern.
Yeah.
Is more parking, but I guess one step at a time, parking's always an issue.
Yep.
We have enough
Right.
spaces here. I just don't know that we can accommodate another 8 cars,
Right, right.
without making some kind of adjustments. So,
That would be good for the housing authority though, to add
Yeah.
units, especially
Yeah.
units that, can accommodate people who usually don't have any place to go that they can actually live in comfortably, especially if they're disabled or handicapped.
yeah. And, we've only had the 2 over at Heritage Village. So I think you're supposed to have, I think they like you to have 5% anyway. And,
Right.
we don't have 5%.
That'd be
So,
a plus for you.
yeah. So I think, that's some pretty exciting news. At least
Very.
it definitely is something that could happen. We weren't sure, if it was going to even be something to be considered, but it definitely is. So still a ways
Leave
to
it to
go.
Rick though. Good for him.
Yeah.
Really, good for him.
Yeah. The corporation, anyway, they do good stuff. So, so I think it's just a matter of, and then obviously it all has to go to town meeting and all that kind of stuff, one step at a time here. But I think if DHCD gives us the go ahead, then, and I don't see why they wouldn't. I think Paul said that he was going to talk to them. They'll probably send somebody out to take a look at the land, which they did before, way back when. And
Right.
they said that that was buildable, but they weren't willing to give us any money, which was what the issue was. So we got stonewalled. There just was no money to build.
Well, they had
So,
a different reason. They wanted to, have you build different housing.
yeah, and I just think with this whole, the champ system and the whole 9 yards, I mean, there's so many people on the list. You would never have a problem filling the units ever.
No, no. And homelessness is a problem. So.
Yeah, and there's no more state hospitals and all of that. So yeah, so that's the update on that. And I think Rick was gonna talk to his board, and obviously I said I would talk to you guys. Obviously I want to make sure everybody thinks it's a good idea and is on board, and then we'll take it from there as soon as we hear back from DHCD. So
Oh, good luck.
Good.
yeah.
Yep.
So I think that's it. The crew all made out okay with the snow. We had one plow truck break down, but they found someplace in Milford that was working, and they got it fixed. Place looks great. They worked all night long clearing the snow, but they did good. So all in all, everything's
That's good. And
Yeah.
pretty soon they'll have a nice garage, right, Brad?
Yeah, now it sounds like there won't have any trucks to put in it.
Right. Are you all done? Do you want me to move on?
Yep, I think that's it.
Okay, well, I guess the next item on the agenda is the approval of the payment of the bills in the amount of $47,631.60. And I noticed that you sent us a copy, so we'll take a motion and stuff before we discuss it. I need a motion for the accounts payable warrant.
So moved, Ray Carlson.
Thank you. I need a second.
Second, Brad Newman.
Okay. Any questions on any of the accounts that we were given?
Lynn, I have a question.
Sure.
I guess I didn't notice it before, but there were a lot of checks that has $0 amount in them because is it not printing correctly?
That was me.
Oh,
Um,
I'm not meaning to point out, I just wanted to.
No, I voided a bunch of checks because what I did was I started printing on Friday, and I tried to change the date to February 1st so that they wouldn't show up in January, and a whole set of them printed it correctly. So I void them and reprint. So
Just
yeah.
wanted to make sure that it wasn't a you needed some sort of equipment.
no, it was just I voided out a bunch of checks.
Okay.
So they said that's why they said 0.
Any other questions? If everybody's had a chance to review it, I'll accept the motion to accept it as presented in the amount of $47,631.60. All in favor?
Elaine, aye.
Ray, aye.
Brad, I.
Andy, I.
Rita, aye. All in favor? Motion carries. The next, any other business to come before the meeting? Oh, everybody's really quiet, huh? Been a long day. Well, hearing nothing to come before the meeting, there's an adjournment, so I'll take a motion to adjourn the meeting at 6:36.
Perfect. So moved.
The next meeting is March 3rd.
March 3rd.
This is good
Ray,
time.
Ray made a motion to accept. We need a second.
Second, Andy.
Second, Andy. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Well, have a nice February. Everybody stay safe. Get your shots or your vaccine. And I'll see you all March 3rd.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
everybody.
Take
night.
care.